Today, I just want to relax and work on my island, do some decorating, maybe shake some trees. I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to just vibe in your Animal Crossing world. I'm going to be reading some positive Reddit stories. These stories are either outright positive or have updates with happy endings. So sit back, relax, and let's unwind with some stories. But okay, let's read the first story. A stranger helped me at the grocery store today, and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm a 28-year-old female, and I've been struggling with anxiety for years now. It's been particularly bad the last few months. I avoid going out as much as possible, but today I had to go to the grocery store because I was completely out of food. I was standing in the cereal aisle, having what I can only describe as a full panic attack. I couldn't remember what I needed. I couldn't breathe properly, and I felt like everyone was staring at me. Then this older woman, probably in her 60s, came up to me and very gently asked if I was okay. I tried to say yes, but I think she could tell I wasn't. She didn't make a big deal out of it. She just started talking to me about cereal of all things. She told me about how her grandkids only eat the sugary stuff, and how she tries to sneak in the healthier options. She kept talking in this really calm, soothing voice until I could breathe again. She helped me finish my shopping, walking with me through the aisles, and making small talk about random things. When we got to the checkout, she gave me a hug and told me that she was proud of me for being there, even though it was hard. I cried in my car for like 20 minutes after. I don't know who she was, but she made such a difference in my day. I just wanted to share this somewhere because it reminded me that there are still genuinely kind people in the world. I completely understand this person's reaction. Sometimes when you're struggling with anxiety, it's the small acts of kindness that just hit different, you know? Like, this woman didn't have to do anything. She could have just walked past, but instead she took the time to help a complete stranger through a panic attack. That's beautiful. The comments on this post are really wholesome too. People are sharing their own stories about strangers helping them during difficult moments. There's this whole thread about how we should normalize checking in on people who look like they're struggling. I love that. But I don't know. I think we could all be a little more like this woman. Just taking a moment to be present for someone else can make such a huge difference. Alright, let's go ahead and read another story here. Am I the jerk for refusing to give my neighbour back his soccer ball? Okay, this title sounds bad, but hear me out. I'm a 35-year-old male, and I live in a quiet suburban neighbourhood. My neighbour's kid, who's probably around 8 or 9, accidentally kicked his soccer ball over the fence into my yard about a week ago. The kid came to my door very politely and asked if he could get it back. Here's the thing though. My dog had just passed away 2 weeks before this happened. She was 14 years old and I'd had her since she was a puppy. I was absolutely devastated, and the house felt so empty without her. When this kid came to get his ball, he saw I was upset and asked what was wrong. I told him about my dog, and he gave me this very sincere, "I'm sorry," like kids do. Then he asked if he could come back the next day to get his ball, because he didn't want to bother me while I was sad. That absolutely broke me. This kid was being so thoughtful. The next day, he came back with his mum. She apologised for him bothering me, but the kid ran into my backyard, got his ball, and then came back to my front door. He handed me a drawing he'd made. It was a picture of a dog that he said looked like mine, based on the photos he could see through my window. He'd written, "I'm sorry about your dog" at the top. I completely lost it. I told him thank you, and that the drawing was wonderful. Then I asked if he wanted his ball back, or if he'd trade it for something else. He looked confused, so I explained that I'd been thinking about getting a new dog, and maybe he'd want to help me pick one out from the shelter. His face lit up. Long story short, we went to the shelter that weekend. The kid helped me find the perfect dog, a 3-year-old mixed breed who needed a home. The kid's parents were okay with him coming over to play with the dog whenever he wanted. So technically I never gave him his soccer ball back. Instead, I gave him unlimited visitation rights to my new dog. The soccer ball is still in my garage, and it's become kind of a running joke between us. He says I'm holding it hostage, and I say it's payment for his excellent dog picking services. Before I read the update to this story, I just want to say that this is so wholesome it hurts. Like, this kid showed such emotional intelligence and maturity for his age, and the fact that this guy turned a sad moment into an opportunity to build a friendship with his neighbour, that's beautiful. The comments are all saying the same thing. Everyone's just celebrating how this turned into such a positive situation for everyone involved. Okay, so there's an update here from about a month later. So my neighbour kid, whose name is Tyler by the way, has become a regular at my house. He comes over about 3 times a week to play with my dog Max. Tyler's parents are the sweetest people, and they've been bringing me home cooked meals because they know I live alone and they wanted to make sure I was eating well. Tyler has also appointed himself as Max's personal trainer. He's got this whole routine set up where he times Max running around the yard, sets up obstacle courses, and keeps track of Max's progress in a little notebook. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Last week, Tyler asked me if Max could come to his show and tell at school. His teacher said it was okay, so Max and I went to his classroom. Tyler gave this whole presentation about how helping others can make you feel good too. He talked about how he helped me find Max, and how now we're friends. I'm not going to lie, I teared up a little bit. His whole class wanted to pet Max afterwards, and Max loved every second of the attention. Tyler's parents invited me to his birthday party next month. They said I'm part of the family now. Oh, and about the soccer ball, Tyler's dad bought him a new one, but Tyler refuses to use it. He says the one in my garage is lucky because it brought us together. So yeah, I guess I'm keeping that soccer ball forever now. It's my payment for the best friendship I didn't know I needed. I love everything about this story. This is exactly the kind of wholesome content we need more of. Just people being kind to each other and building genuine connections. Also, Tyler sounds like an absolute legend. That kid is going places. Let me just organise my storage a little bit here while I pull up the next story. I've been trying to keep everything sorted, but it's kind of a mess right now. I need to figure out a better system for all this stuff. But anyway, let's read another one. This post is titled, "I lied to my girlfriend about being good at cooking." I'm a 26-year-old male, and when I first started dating my girlfriend, who's 25, I may have exaggerated my cooking skills. Like, heavily exaggerated. She mentioned on our second date that she loved guys who could cook, and I, like an idiot, said that I was actually a pretty good cook. The truth is, I could barely make scrambled eggs without burning them, but I really liked her, and I panicked. For our third date, she asked if I could cook dinner for her at my place. I fully panicked. I spent the entire week before the date watching YouTube cooking tutorials. I picked the simplest pasta dish I could find and practiced making it every single night. I went through so much pasta that week. My roommate thought I'd lost my mind. The night of the date came, and somehow, by the grace of God, I managed to pull it off. The pasta was actually good. She loved it. She said it was delicious, and that she was impressed. I felt like I'd dodged a bullet, but then she started asking me to cook more often, and I couldn't exactly say no without revealing my lie. So I just kept watching tutorials and practicing. Every time she'd come over, I'd make something slightly more complicated. I went from basic pasta to chicken dishes to homemade pizza to actually seasoning things properly. This has been going on for 8 months now. Here's the thing though, I've actually become a legitimately good cook. Like, I'm not exaggerating anymore. I can actually cook now. I genuinely enjoy it. I've learnt so much, and it's become a real hobby of mine. Last night, my girlfriend told me that she has a confession. She said that she actually can't cook at all, and that she's been ordering takeout and pretending she made it whenever she said she was cooking for me. I started laughing so hard, I nearly cried. Then I told her the truth about how I couldn't cook either. When we first met, we both just sat there laughing at how ridiculous we'd been. She said she couldn't believe I learned how to cook, just to impress her. I told her it was worth it, because now I actually love cooking. We decided that I'll keep cooking and she'll do the dishes. Honestly, I think this might be the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. We're both idiots, but we're idiots together. I love this story because it's such a perfect example of fake it till you make it actually working out. Like, this guy lied about being able to cook, but instead of the lie blowing up in his face, he just committed to the bit so hard that he actually learned how to cook. That's dedication. And the fact that his girlfriend was doing the exact same thing, that's perfect. They're literally perfect for each other. The comments on this post are hilarious. People are sharing their own stories about lies they told while dating, that either blew up or turned out fine. There's this one person who said they told their partner they liked hiking, and now they're training for a marathon together. Another person said they pretended to like jazz music, and now they have season tickets to jazz concerts. It's kind of wholesome how sometimes pretending to be interested in something can actually make you interested in it. Let me go ahead and grab some more materials while I queue up the next story. I'm trying to work on this area over here, but I keep getting distracted by other projects. That's kind of the theme of my island at this point. Just half-finished projects everywhere. But that's fine. That's the vibe. Let's read another story. Okay, this one's called, "My husband has been secretly taking care of neighborhood cats for 2 years. I'm a 32-year-old female, and I've been married to my husband, who's 34, for 6 years. About 2 years ago, I noticed that we were going through cat food pretty quickly. We have one cat, and there was no way she was eating that much. When I asked my husband about it, he said he must have been buying the smaller bags by accident. I thought that was weird, but I didn't push it. Then I started noticing other things, like he'd volunteer to take out the trash at very specific times. He'd go for walks around the neighbourhood at the same time every evening. He started keeping spare towels in his car. None of this made sense until last week. I came home early from work and caught him in the backyard with 7 cats. 7. He'd set up this whole feeding station behind our shed where I couldn't see it from the house. He'd built little shelters for them for when it rained. He'd even named all of them. When he saw me, he looked like a kid who'd been caught sneaking cookies. He started explaining really fast about how he'd seen a few stray cats in the neighbourhood and started feeding them. Then more cats showed up. He'd tried to get them adopted, but most of them were too feral, so he'd just been taking care of them. He'd even taken some of them to the vet with his own money to get them checked and neutered. He said he didn't tell me because he thought I'd be mad about the expense or that I'd think it was silly. "I'm not going to lie," I cried. But not because I was upset. I cried because I married the sweetest man on the planet. He'd been running a whole secret cat rescue operation in our backyard for 2 years. I told him I wasn't mad at all. I was actually really proud of him. We sat down and talked about it properly. Now it's not a secret anymore. We've set up a proper feeding schedule together. I've helped him build better shelters for the cats. We've even started a little fundraiser in our neighbourhood to help with vet costs. Some of our neighbours have started helping out too. My husband was so relieved that I wasn't angry. He said he'd been stressed about hiding it, but he couldn't just stop taking care of the cats. Honestly, I love him even more now. If anything, this whole thing just confirmed that I married the right person. Our cat is a little confused about why there are suddenly other cats getting attention. But she'll survive. I don't know why, but this story really got me. There's something so pure about someone secretly taking care of stray cats, because they just can't help themselves. Like this man saw cats that needed help, and just decided to help them, even if it meant keeping it a secret for 2 years. That's the kind of person you want in your life. Also, I love that his wife's reaction was just pure support. No judgment, no anger, just okay, we're doing this together now. That's what partnership looks like. The comments are full of people sharing similar stories about their partners doing secretly wholesome things. Someone said their husband had been secretly paying for a struggling family's groceries for months. Another person said their wife had been tutoring kids in the neighbourhood for free. It's really nice to read about people just being good humans. Alright, let me work on this area for a bit. I've been meaning to fix this up for a while now. It's not quite matching the aesthetic I'm going for, but I think I can make it work. I just need to commit to a vision here. Let's read another story while I figure this out. This next story is short, but really sweet. The title is, I got a promotion today, and I have nobody to tell. I'm a 29-year-old female, and I've been working at the same company for 4 years. I've been working really hard for a promotion, and today I finally got it. The problem is, I don't really have anyone to share this with. My family and I aren't close. We're not estranged or anything, but we just don't really talk. I don't have a partner. My co-workers are nice, but we're not friends outside of work. I moved to a new city for this job, and I haven't really made friends here yet. When my boss told me about the promotion, I was so happy, but then I realised I had nobody to call, nobody to celebrate with. It made the achievement feel kind of hollow, so I'm posting it here. I got a promotion. I worked really hard for it, and I'm proud of myself. I just wanted to tell someone, even if it's strangers on the internet. 2 hours after that post, they made an update. The update says, I can't believe the response to my post. Hundreds of people congratulated me. People I've never met are telling me they're proud of me. Some people even sent me private messages with virtual celebrations. One person sent me a recipe for a celebration cake for one that they said they make whenever they achieve something and have nobody to celebrate with. Someone else sent me a playlist of celebratory songs. Another person said they were opening a bottle of wine in my honour. I've been crying reading all of these messages. Happy crying, I think. I didn't expect this at all. Thank you to everyone who took the time to comment. You've made this promotion feel special. I don't feel alone anymore. You've all reminded me that kindness exists everywhere, even from strangers on the internet. I'm going to make that celebration cake tonight, and I'm going to listen to that playlist, and maybe I'll open a bottle of wine too. Thank you all so much. This story hits different, you know. We all have those moments where we achieve something big and just want someone to be proud of us. The fact that this person turned to Reddit and got such an overwhelming response just proves that there's still a lot of good in the world. I think we all forget sometimes that we can be that person for someone else. Like it costs nothing to congratulate someone or tell them you're proud of them, but it can mean everything to the person receiving it. The comments on the update are just as sweet as the original responses. People are asking for updates on how the cake turned out. Others are sharing their own experiences with feeling alone after achievements. It's become this whole supportive community moment. Before I read the next story, let me just fix this section up. I've been putting this off for way too long, and it's starting to bother me. Sometimes you just need to commit to fixing something, even if you're not totally sure what the end result will look like. Alright, let's read another one. This post is titled, "My Dad and I Reconnected After 15 Years, and he showed me his dad joke notebook. I'm a 32-year-old male, and my dad and I had a falling out when I was 17. It was typical teenage rebellion stuff that escalated way too far. We both said things we didn't mean, and we were both too stubborn to apologise. Years went by, and we just didn't talk. My mum tried to get us to reconcile a few times, but neither of us would budge. Then my mum got sick earlier this year. Nothing life-threatening, but serious enough that it put things in perspective. I realised I was wasting time being angry about something that happened half a lifetime ago. So I reached out to my dad. We met for coffee last month. It was awkward at first. We didn't really know what to say to each other. We'd missed 15 years of each other's lives. Then my dad pulled out this small notebook. He said, "I need to show you something." Inside the notebook were dad jokes, hundreds of them. He'd been writing them down for 15 years. He told me that even though we weren't speaking, he'd write down jokes he thought I'd find funny. He'd imagined telling them to me someday. He said it was his way of still being a dad, even though I wasn't around. He went through the notebook and told me every single joke. Some of them were terrible. Most of them were terrible, actually. But I laughed anyway because my dad looked so happy telling them. There were jokes about things that had been popular years ago. Jokes about movies I'd loved as a teenager. Jokes about current events from every year we'd been apart. By the end, we were both crying and laughing at the same time. We've been meeting up regularly since then. We're taking it slow, but we're rebuilding our relationship. He still writes jokes in that notebook. Now he texts me one every morning. They're still terrible, but they're my favourite part of the day. I'm sharing this because I want people to know it's never too late to fix things. I wasted 15 years being stubborn. Don't be like me. Life's too short. Okay, I'm not going to lie, this story made me emotional. The image of this dad writing jokes for 15 years, just hoping he'd get to tell them to his son someday, is just heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. I think the hardest thing about family conflicts is the pride that keeps us from reaching out. We all want to be right, but being right isn't worth losing relationships over. This poster had the courage to reach out first, and look what happened. He got his dad back, and a whole notebook full of terrible dad jokes. I'd call that a win. The comments are full of people sharing their own reconciliation stories. There are a lot of people saying this post inspired them to reach out to family members they've been estranged from. That's the power of sharing vulnerable stories. You never know who might need to hear it. Let me just organise a few things here before we move on to the next story. I've been collecting so much stuff and I really need to figure out what to do with all of it. Maybe I'll work on another project after this. We'll see how I'm feeling. But alright, this next one is a little different, but still has good vibes. It's titled, "I've been pretending to be bad at Mario Kart so my wife will keep playing with me." I'm a 30-year-old male and my wife is 28. When we first started dating, she mentioned that she used to love playing Mario Kart with her siblings growing up. I suggested we play together and she got so excited. Here's the thing. I'm really good at Mario Kart, like embarrassingly good. I spent way too much of my teenage years mastering that game. But on our first game night, I realised that my wife is not good at Mario Kart. She's enthusiastic, but she's not skilled. I beat her pretty badly in the first race, and I could see her excitement kind of deflate. So in the second race, I pretended to mess up. I let her win. Her face lit up and she was so happy. She wanted to play again. So I kept letting her win. Not every time, because that would be obvious, but enough that she felt like she had a chance. It's been 3 years now. We have Mario Kart nights every week. She thinks we're evenly matched. She thinks she's gotten really good at the game. I'm happy to let her think that because she's having so much fun. Last night though, my nephew came over. He's 12 and he's also really good at Mario Kart. He and I played while my wife was watching. I completely forgot to hold back. I was playing at my actual skill level and I destroyed him multiple times. My wife just stared at me. Then she said, "Have you been letting me win this whole time?" I tried to play it off, but she knew. I thought she'd be mad, but instead she started laughing. She said she'd suspected it for a while, but didn't say anything, because she was having fun. She said it was actually really sweet that I'd been doing that for 3 years. We played a few more rounds after that. I didn't hold back this time. She lost every single race, but she was laughing the whole time. She said we're still having weekly Mario Kart nights, but now I have to teach her how to actually get good at the game so she can beat me for real someday. Honestly, I think I love her even more after this. She could have been mad that I'd been patronizing her, but instead she just thought it was funny and sweet. That's the kind of person you marry. I love this story because it's such a wholesome kind of deception. Like, yes, technically he was lying to her, but he was doing it because he wanted her to have fun. That's love right there. The fact that she wasn't even mad when she found out. That's perfect. The comments are split between people saying this is adorable and people sharing their own stories about pretending to be bad at games for similar reasons. Someone said they've been pretending to be bad at Scrabble for their entire marriage. Another person said they let their partner win at minigolf every time because their partner gets genuinely upset when they lose. It's kind of funny how many people do this. I think it just shows that sometimes making someone else happy is more important than winning, especially in a relationship. It's not about keeping score. It's about having fun together. Let me work on this section a bit while I pull up the next story. I've been meaning to redesign this whole area, but I keep second guessing my ideas. Maybe I'll just commit to something and see how it turns out. Sometimes you just have to go for it. Okay, this next story is called "A Kid at the Grocery Store Made My Entire Year." I'm a 45-year-old female, and I've been dealing with some health issues lately. Nothing terminal, but enough that it's been affecting my confidence. I've lost a lot of hair from the medication, and I've gained weight from being less active. I've been feeling pretty down about my appearance. Today I was at the grocery store, and this little girl, probably around 5 or 6, walked up to me in the produce section. She looked at me very seriously and said, "You're beautiful, like a princess." I was so surprised, I didn't know what to say. Her mum rushed over and apologized, but I told her there was nothing to apologize for. I bent down to the little girl's level and told her thank you, and that she made my day. She smiled and said, "You're welcome," and then skipped away. I stood in the produce section and cried, happy tears. That little girl had no idea how much I needed to hear that today. Kids have this amazing ability to just say exactly what they're thinking, without any filter. And sometimes that's exactly what the world needs. Her mom came back a few minutes later and apologized again. I told her she was raising a wonderful daughter. She said her daughter had been learning about kindness at school and had decided to compliment at least one person every day. I told her that her daughter's compliment meant more than she could know. I'm tearing up again writing this. It's amazing how much a few words from a stranger can impact you. I'm going to try to be more like that little girl. I'm going to try to share kindness more freely. You never know who might need it. This story is so pure it hurts. Kids really do have this incredible ability to just say kind things without overthinking it. Adults could learn a lot from that. We get so caught up in wondering if it's weird to compliment a stranger or if we'll be bothering someone. But that little girl just saw someone she thought was beautiful and said so. No hesitation, no second guessing, just pure honesty. And look at the impact it had. This poster was struggling with her self-image because of health issues. And one comment from a child changed her entire perspective. That's powerful. The comments are full of similar stories about children saying unexpectedly kind things. There's this one story about a kid telling a veteran, "Thank you for being brave," that made the veteran cry. Another story about a kid complimenting someone's wheelchair and saying it looked cool like a race car. Kids just see the good in people, and they're not afraid to express it. We should all try to keep that childlike kindness as we grow up. Let me just finish up what I'm working on here, and then we'll read a couple more stories. I think I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. It's not perfect, but nothing ever is. Right? Sometimes good enough is actually good enough. Right, let's read another one. This post is titled, "My elderly neighbour has been leaving me little gifts, and I finally found out why." I'm a 27-year-old male, and I live alone in an apartment. My neighbour is this sweet elderly woman, probably in her 80s. We've always been friendly, and we wave when we see each other, but we've never really had long conversations. About 6 months ago, I started finding little gifts outside my door. A plate of cookies, a small plant, a book. There was never a note, but I knew it was from her because I'd seen her leaving things once. I always thanked her when I saw her, and she'd just smile and nod. This kept happening every few weeks. Always something small and thoughtful. I started returning the favour. I'd bring her groceries when I went shopping. I'd shovel her sidewalk in the winter. I'd help her carry heavy things. We still didn't talk much, but we had this unspoken friendship. Last week, I got a knock on my door. It was her grandson. He told me that his grandmother wanted to give me something and asked if I could come over. I went to her apartment, and she was sitting in her living room with a photo album. She patted the seat next to her, and I sat down. She showed me pictures from throughout her life. Her late husband, her children, her grandchildren. Then she got to a photo of a young man in a military uniform. She told me it was her son. He'd passed away 30 years ago. Then she said something that made me understand everything. She said I reminded her of him. Same hair colour, same smile, same kindness. She said that leaving me gifts was her way of taking care of her son. She knew it might sound silly, but it brought her comfort. She wanted me to know so I wouldn't think she was just a strange old woman. I told her it didn't sound silly at all. I told her that her gifts had made me feel less alone and that I was honoured to remind her of her son. We talked for hours that day. She told me stories about her son. I told her about my life. We've been having tea together every Sunday since then. She's become like a grandmother to me. Yesterday, she asked if I'd call her Grandma Rose instead of Mrs. Patterson. I told her I'd be honoured. I'm writing this because I want people to know that connection can happen in unexpected ways. That lonely elderly neighbour might just need someone to care about. That small gesture of kindness might mean more than you realise. Grandma Rose saved me from loneliness just as much as I might have helped her. Okay, this story got me. I think we all know someone like Grandma Rose. Someone who's been through loss and finds ways to keep their loved ones alive through small acts of kindness. The fact that this poster reminded her of her son and she's been quietly caring for him because of that, that's both heartbreaking and beautiful. And I love that he didn't just accept the gifts, he reciprocated. He built an actual relationship with her. Now they have each other, and that's what matters. The comments on this post are incredibly touching. So many people are sharing stories about elderly neighbours who became like family. There are people saying this post inspired them to reach out to their elderly neighbours. One person said they're going to start checking in on the older woman who lives alone next door. This is the kind of ripple effect that makes these stories so important. One act of kindness inspires another, which inspires another. That's how we make the world better. One small gesture at a time. Let me just wrap up what I'm doing here. I think this is looking pretty good now. Definitely better than it was before. I'm happy with the progress. Sometimes you just need to put in the work and trust the process. Alright, I think we have time for one or two more stories. Let me find a good one to end on. This next one is called I Accidentally Became a Mentor, and it changed my life. I'm a 38-year-old male and I work in tech. A few months ago, this kid, probably around 22, started messaging me on LinkedIn, asking questions about my career. At first I was annoyed. I get a lot of messages and I usually ignore them, but this kid was persistent. He wasn't asking me for a job or trying to sell me anything. He just wanted advice, so I responded. I gave him some basic career advice and figured that would be the end of it. But he kept messaging me. He'd ask follow-up questions. He'd tell me about his progress. He'd ask for advice on specific situations. Eventually I stopped being annoyed and started being impressed. This kid was actually taking my advice and applying it. He was working hard and making progress. We started having regular video calls. I'd give him advice on his projects. He'd show me what he was working on. I introduced him to some people in my network. He landed a job at a great company a few months ago. He credited me with helping him get there. He sent me this long message, thanking me for believing in him when nobody else did. Here's the thing though, mentoring him helped me just as much as it helped him. Maybe more. I'd been feeling stuck in my career. I'd been coasting. I'd lost my passion for the work. But talking to him every week and seeing his enthusiasm reminded me why I got into this field in the first place. His questions made me think about things I'd stopped thinking about. His energy was contagious. I started taking on more challenging projects at work. I started learning new skills again. I remembered what it felt like to be excited about my career. Last week, he asked if he could take me out to dinner to celebrate his first big project at his new job. We met up, and he gave me a card. Inside, he'd written about how I'd changed his life and how grateful he was. But I wrote him a card too. I told him that he'd changed my life just as much. that mentoring him had reignited my passion and reminded me why I do what I do. We both cried in the restaurant like idiots. The waiter was very concerned. I'm writing this because I want people to know that mentorship is a two-way street. When you help someone else grow, you grow too. If someone reaches out to you asking for advice, give them a chance. You might just end up changing each other's lives. I love this story so much. There's something really special about mentorship relationships when they're genuine. It's not just about the experienced person passing down knowledge. It's about both people learning and growing together. This poster thought he was just giving some kid advice, but he ended up getting his passion back. That's beautiful. And the fact that they both wrote each other cards, that's the good stuff right there. The comments are full of people sharing their own mentorship stories, both mentors and mentees, talking about how those relationships changed them. Someone said their mentor gave them confidence when they had none. Another person said their mentee taught them to see their industry with fresh eyes. It's proof that connection and generosity make everyone better. Okay, let's do one more story, and then we'll wrap this up. I want to end on a high note. This last one is called "My Partner Proposed in the Most Unexpected Way, and I Can't Stop Smiling." I'm a 29-year-old female, and my partner is a 31-year-old male. We've been together for 5 years. I always thought I'd know when the proposal was coming. I thought there would be signs, but there weren't. We were just having a normal Tuesday night. We'd ordered pizza. We were watching a show we'd seen a million times. We were wearing our ugliest, most comfortable clothes. I wasn't wearing makeup. My hair was in a messy bun. Then, in the middle of an episode, he paused the TV. I thought something was wrong. He turned to me and said, "I don't want to do this on some special day or at some fancy place. I want to do it right now, during a normal moment, because this is real life. This is us. This is what I want forever." Then he got down on one knee, right there in our living room, with our pizza boxes on the coffee table. He said, "Will you marry me?" I said yes before he even finished asking. We both started crying and laughing at the same time. Then we ate our pizza and finished our show. It was perfect. It was so perfectly us. Everyone keeps asking me about the proposal, and when I tell them it happened during a TV show in our pajamas, some people seem disappointed. They expected something grander, but I wouldn't change it for anything. He proposed during a real moment, a moment that represents what our life together actually looks like, not some Instagram-worthy production, just us, being us. I'm marrying my best friend, and I couldn't be happier. This is the perfect story to end on. I love that he proposed during a regular moment, instead of trying to make it some big production, because that's what a relationship actually is, right? It's not the fancy dates or the big gestures. It's the Tuesday nights in pajamas watching TV together. That's real life. That's what you're actually signing up for. And the fact that she appreciated that instead of wanting something more elaborate, that shows they're on the same page about what matters. The comments are full of people sharing their own low-key proposal stories. Someone said their partner proposed during a grocery store run. Another person said they got engaged while building IKEA furniture together. These stories are just as romantic as the elaborate proposals, because they're genuine. They're based on knowing your partner and what would make them happy, not what would look good on social media. Alright, that's all the Reddit stories I have for you today. Thank you so much to everyone who has watched, commented, subscribed, and supported these videos. I genuinely love making these and sharing these stories with you all. Reading positive Reddit stories has been really good for my mental health, honestly. It's a nice reminder that there's still a lot of good in the world. A lot of kind people doing kind things. A lot of love and connection and humanity. We need more of that. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Or don't. I'm not your boss. But I'd appreciate it if you did. And maybe go do something nice for someone today. Leave a compliment. Check in on a friend. Help a neighbour. You never know how much it might mean to someone. Alright, I'm going to keep working on my island. Thanks for hanging out with me today. See you in the next one.